Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome to another episode of The Soul's Nurse. And my name is Maria, your guide on this inner transformation. And today we're going to be talking about what happens in a cacao ceremony, how I open space, how I maintain the space, how I close the cacao ceremony, and some of the things that may happen during the cacao ceremony itself. If you are interested in learning more, then please keep watching. First things first. Cacao ceremonies, for me, and the way that I lead my ceremonies, they typically take between 2 to 2.5 hours. Every ceremony is different, and the way that they are led and or facilitated is very different from each person that is leading ceremony. One important thing to note is that cacao ceremonies became more of a westernized type of ceremony within the last few years. But traditionally speaking, when the Mexica and the Aztecs and the Olmecs, and then eventually the Mayans and these other tribes and empires had a direct communion with cacao, it was more of a ritual and something that was done to honor the gods, their own kind of ceremonies, which were very different than the ones that we have now. And in addition to that, they used cacao actually as a form of currency and a form of trade back in the day. And cacao is known as the food of the gods for that very reason. They used to commune with cacao to honor their gods and to have a direct link with them in a much different way than we do cacao ceremonies now in the Western world. Nevertheless, I do think that cacao brings an enormous amount of transformation and medicine, especially heart medicine. And so if they are led with integrity, with reverence, with knowledge, with wisdom, and with love, then it can bring powerful transformations of healing, of openness, and of release. If you've ever been to one of my cacao ceremonies, you know that I like to open space by calling in the 4 directions, the 4 elements, our ancestors, Great Spirit, and always honoring our Mother Earth. The reason for this is by calling in the 4 elements and the 4 directions, we are securing the space. We are also calling in plant allies, spirit animals, guardians, ancestors, and of course our creator and great spirit, the Most High, to protect the space for ourselves as we're leading the ceremony, but also for the participants. Although cacao is not a medicine that is intense like ayahuasca or psilocybin or other sacraments, cacao still thins the veil between the physical world and the spirit world in terms of the energy that can be transferred, released, or received. So it is very important that in a cacao ceremony, the energy of the space and of the person leading and the participants is protected and is transmuted if there is any energy that is needing to be released. Sometimes some participants are having emotional responses and emotional releases from the cacao itself, or from the teachings and the conversations and the shares that happen within the ceremony itself. Some items that I like to bring in my cacao ceremonies are crystals. I love working with crystals. I usually bring black tourmaline for protection and grounding. I bring rose quartz for love. I bring selenite and clear quartz for healing and transmuting energies. Clear quartz magnifies the energy, so whatever energy I'm working with and whatever my intentions are for this space, clear quartz will amplify that. Selenite will clean and clear the energy. And I also bring a black obsidian spear to cut any energies that are dense and heavy within the space. And sometimes I also bring other different types of crystals depending on the energies that I feel called with working on that day. So that could look like sodalite if I want there to be more communication, more opening of the throat chakra, more release. I can sometimes bring in citrine if I want there to be more abundance. I've also brought in red carnelian if I want us to connect more to our root chakra and our passion and our inner fire and be grounded within that chakra itself. So there's many different crystals that I like to personally work with. Not everybody works with crystals, but if you do, then these are some things that you might want to bring with you as a participant yourself to work with that energy during ceremony. Or if you are leading a ceremony, then these are some crystals that you may want to consider in your pocket. And now I want to show you some of the crystals that I was mentioning. So this is my selenite knife that I bring, and this is one that helps to clean and clear the energy. This is my black tourmaline. This is for grounding and protection. This is the black obsidian spear or knife that I like to bring to cut through dense and negative energy. And I also like to bring a rose quartz, which is heart shaped. And I don't think it's on me right now, but I'll show it to you in another video. I love to bring that to bring in and call in the energy of love, which is the highest frequency. And sometimes I use this to pass around in the ceremony for participants to hold on to as they do their shares. The other things that I like to bring is Palo Santo, of course, to clean and clear the energy. I bring agua de Florida or Florida water. Make sure that if you are using Florida water, you are using the yellow kind, which is the Peruvian agua de Florida. The green agua de Florida is not as powerful, and that's because it has certain chemicals and additives added to it, and it's not the straight holy water that comes from Peru. So make sure that if you are working with agua de Florida, that it is the Peruvian kind, and I'll link a resource for you to get this in the description down below. So after I've opened up space in ceremony, this is when we move into serving the cacao, and I ask all the participants to place an intention into their cup, and that is whether it's silent intention, verbal, but putting an intention into your medicine cup is very, very important. Anything that we do in life must be done with intention and with integrity. Intentions are like shooting targets, right? Everything that you do, if it has an intention and if it's coming from a pure place, then the more power that it has to manifest. Setting an intention doesn't mean setting expectations. There's a difference. Setting an intention means this is what I intend to call into my life, and allowing Great Spirit and our Creator to bring that forth if that is for our highest good. Having expectations can really rob you of a full experience in life and with any medicine journey, really, because having expectations is also being vulnerable and open to suffering if those expectations do not get fulfilled. After we serve the cacao and we set our intentions into our cup, we then begin to share teachings, topics. I usually like to pick a topic or a teaching to bring into ceremony to share and to have conversations, open conversations about them. And as we drink the cacao, the feelings, the emotions are moving, the energy is moving, things are being released, things are being received, there's energy exchange, and there's also learning that's happening and openness that's happening too. One thing that I like to share with every ceremony is that cacao can move energy. And that means that sometimes some participants come in and they are feeling in a particular mood. For example, they may come in feeling a little bit anxious or sad or gloomy. And so as they drink cacao, those feelings settle and they feel more relaxed. The anxiety leaves and they feel more in tune with the present moment. It could also work the opposite way. Sometimes participants come in really happy and really cheerful, and all of a sudden, as we start to move the energy, they start to get sad or feel grief, or a lot of emotions can start to come to the surface. So all of this is normal. I always share this at every ceremony because it's important to know that the energy can move around, and sometimes it can be a little shocking if you come into the space feeling a particular way, and then as you sit, you start to feel all different kinds of emotions come through. It's important that the person that is leading your ceremony gives you the space to openly share, to openly feel and express the energy that may be moving through you. And that can look like being able to share wisdom and insight when it is appropriate, or also being able to just hold space for it all and allowing you to come to your insights and to your own conclusion and to be able to receive that knowledge and wisdom from yourself as well, and from cacao, the spirit of the medicine. After we work through some shares and we do some honest and conscious conversations, I like to play music to meditate to after having some cacao medicine in us. And as we meditate with the music or with the song, sometimes I do guided meditations in the space as well. This allows us to process what we are receiving and also process what we are releasing at the same time. Some ceremonies I've incorporated sound baths that other sound healing practitioners have come in and been able to play some beautiful sound healing music for the space. And in this next coming ceremony on June 25th, we are going to be having a beautiful breathwork session with our cacao ceremony with Nicole Trotta, a breathwork and Reiki facilitator from California. These additional healing modalities, such as sound healing, Reiki, breath work, can really help to move and shift the energy of the room as well. But also music and drumming, art, anything that gives us the ability to be able to transmute and alchemize the energy or the feelings that are taking place. Towards the end of ceremony, I always like to bring all the participants back and gently guide them back to the present moment and allowing them to process, to share, to integrate what they have been feeling in the ceremony before we close the space. It's always important that when we do end up closing the space of ceremony, you have a chime or a bell or a music or some sort of sound. At least this is what I like to do, to really let the spirit veil and the world know that ceremony is closing and that the veil must close now, so that there's no energies that are just kind of dispersed randomly. And so we know that the space is now closed and things can go back to their place. I've had many different stories from different participants share with me afterwards of some insights that they received in ceremony. And sometimes that can look like receiving really direct, clear-cut messages, intentions answered, messages that they've never heard before, that they hear it at ceremony and then it changes their life. And it's really beautiful to hear that, because that's how you know that you are leading ceremony with integrity, you are leading it with reverence, you are leading it with authority, and most important of all, that the spirit of the cacao medicine, the ancestors, Great Spirit, and our creator is really supporting the space of the ceremony and is allowing the participants to receive what they need at that time, but also to release it gently and safely as well. So these are some things that happen in a cacao ceremony, and these are some of the ways that I manage and lead my ceremonies. If you want to learn more, subscribe and leave a comment below of something else that you would like to learn. And if you are interested in learning more about cacao, then come to one of my workshops or one of my cacao ceremonies. My next one is on June 25th at 6:30 p.m. at Native McKinney in McKinney, Texas. And I'll leave the link below for registration. Our spots end up filling up really fast, so I would love for you to join me. And if you want to learn more about spirituality, transformation, cacao, or any other transformational questions, then please follow, subscribe, and leave a comment below of anything else that you would like me to answer, maybe in another video. Until then, I'll talk to you soon, and remember to follow your inner compass.